Now, the average soccer winger stands in at about 5 foot 10 inches tall and weighs about 150 and 160 pounds. This is usually what we call victim weight in the real world. Now, these soccer wingers are some of the most productive people on the soccer field at any given time. They're usually the most well-known and usually the most entertaining players. A lot of people watch soccer just for the wingers, including me myself. And today I want to take a look at the current state of wingers in soccer and see exactly how hard it is to play this position and what we can actually expect from the winger position going forward. Now, just looking at their current pay, the winger position is the lowest attacking position in soccer, which makes absolutely no sense. And I'm gonna actually stop calling this soccer and use its real name, football. Now, as the average winger in football, you can expect to earn about $4.8 million per year compared to the average striker who's earning about $7 million, doubling the winger. And it's also comical looking at the fact that these guys have the lowest career length of all positions in soccer. They're also the most important players on the team at any given time, but they're paid damn near nothing compared to everybody else who is attacking and creating goals. So that is what inspired your boy to really dive into this topic. Are y'all ready?
Are you ready?
Let's go. So in order to understand why it sucks to be a winger, my boy, we first have to look at what the position is in its entirety. When you look at a winger from the formation point of view, they're usually the guys on the far side of the pitch. You have the right winger and the left winger. Now, back in the day, wingers weren't as important as they are in today's game. From the early days of football, the cam position was the one that garnered a lot of clout. A lot of people cared about their central attacking midfielder. These would be guys like Pele. These would be guys like Maradona. And it made sense because the central attacking midfielder at the time had control of everything that happens with an offense. He had control of who gets the ball. He has control of how the defense distribute the ball to the rest of the players. Your wingers during this time was more reserved for the far edges of the field. Their only purpose is literally to create space and stretch things out. Now, this style of winger play bled into the early 2000s, and that's when we saw guys like Ryan Giggs and Luis Figo really started to show the world that a winger can be more than just a guy that stretches things out. Luis Figo won the Ballon d'Or in 2000 and I think was FIFA Player of the Year in 2001, showing the world that the winger position can be relied on to take an offense forward. I'm sure most of y'all remember Ryan Giggs, an absolute stud in the football world, but those were the pioneers of the wingers that we see today. Now, from the 2000s to the 2010s, this was the decade when we saw guys like Arjen Robben really take the winger position to the next level. Guys like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi coming in and showing the world that a winger can actually be inverted, that a winger can score a lot more goals and not just rely on crosses to be effective. This was actually one of my favorite times in soccer. When I saw Arjen Robben just cutting in and making those goals with his left foot, it was just beautiful. Those were the good old days of soccer, man. Those were the heydays of the winger. They were so effective, so productive for their teams that coaches actually started to formulate ways to limit the effectiveness of the winger. So this is why in 2015 to 2017 we saw a decline in the wide winger being super effective. We started to see less of those long runs from Messi, less of the productivity of Ronaldo from the right, and Arjen Robben was actually retiring at this time. A lot of great wingers were going away, so coaches actually had to beat themselves and find another way to make wingers more productive. This is what actually created the modern winger that we see in today's game. This is what created a dynamic player like Ousmane Dembele. This is what created a dynamic striker in Mbappe. This is what created a guy like Lamine Yamal. These players aren't just wide wingers, they're also inverted wingers. They're creators, but they're also goal scorers. These wingers have changed the game for the better and show the world that this position will potentially be the future of football. But there's a huge problem. It absolutely sucks to be a winger. and I have to tell you my 2 reasons for why it does. So bear with me.
Playing as a winger is not for the weak, bro. Because let me tell you what happens. You push up, your team loses the ball. You track back, they win the ball back. So when you push up, your team loses the ball, you've got to track back. When you track back, your team wins the ball back, you've got to push up. So for the whole game, you're just running up and down like a dog. You're basically a yo-yo at this point, bro.
So let's start with my first reason for why it sucks to be a winger. And this has to be the pure difficulty that it takes to play this position. Now, bro, as a winger, all you have to do, it might seem simple, is to cut and shoot or pass. But in reality, as a winger, you have to be productive on the forward side of the game, and then you have to be productive when it comes to defending. Most of the game as a winger, you're running back and forth, because even though you have a fullback, if you want to be a winger that stands out, if you want to be a winger that coaches like, you have to be a striker as well as a defender. And the fact that you're also expected to beat players with your 1v1 abilities, which takes a lot of energy, you're looking at an individual who's gonna run almost 7 miles per game. You're gonna be back and forth every time. I think being a winger takes so much guts, because this is basically what the contract looks like from a coach perspective. Here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to play fullback, but also score a lot of goals, and I want you to be the primary creator, give every assist on the team. But coach, could I at least stay forward a little bit and let the fullback do some work because that's his job? Nah, I'm sorry, you're also the fullback. Wait, so you expect me to just like run all game and also not be paid as much as the striker who's just sitting there in the middle of the field? Yeah, I'll with that. Yeah, that's my position. And if I see you not giving your all 100% of the time, I'm gonna call you lazy and say no, you're on the bench.
Hell no.
All I'm gonna say is, if you're a kid just trying to play this position, just understand that this is the hardest position in soccer, and probably the most aerobic position, the most aerobic.
Another genre of player I do not like is the ball retention winger. Talk about these guys over here. Midfielders that got slapped on the wings, man. I'm telling you, these guys are 10s. Why are you being so risk averse in a risk taker position? I want to see wingers drive at their man, beat their man. These guys get the ball, go back, get the ball, go back. They wank, they do that little animation where they pretend they're gonna do something and then they go back.
Now, for my number 2, is gonna be the absolute hate that wingers get. Now guys, everybody who plays a sport understand that you're gonna get criticism from weirdos who don't even play your sport. But as a winger, you have to understand that you are gonna be the most criticized on your team, maybe apart from the goalkeeper. As a winger, they don't understand that you have to run so much that it actually might hinder your ability to take players on. So you might want to pass because you're defending more. But no, these motherfuckers don't understand. All right, they expect you to run your 7 miles, but then every time you get the ball, you have to be taking a player on. You have to be pushing by a player with 200% speed. Everything has to be maxed out as a winger. You have to be creative. You have to have extreme level of endurance. You also have to have flair. You can't just be boring. You can't just be a good passer off the ball. No, everybody else that's paid more than you on a football field can be good passers of the ball and go away. But as a winger, no. You have to take control of the entertainment factor of your team. I'm gonna be honest, I love wingers who are entertaining, all right? But those wingers are elite, and their coaches actually give them the ability to stay up the field more, and as their fullbacks to stay back more. But if you're just playing this position and trying to make it to the top leagues, you're going to be expected to play a fullback and a striker, but also get criticized for not playing the striker position like you should. And they're going to literally discount the fact that you're also playing fullback, which makes no sense. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is why it sucks to be a winger. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Without further ado, watch all the videos on the channel. Dang.